Yo, what's good, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. And yes, I didn't bring out my 72-hour impressions video of the new Mobile X6, but I am here today to kind of give you guys like my first impressions about it after using it for a little bit over 72 hours. I do apologize that the video didn't come out, but obviously Valentine's Day, and then if you guys didn't know, the weekends is my time with the kids. That's where I dedicate my time with them. So no videos to be really pumped out. I do a live stream on Saturday, if that counts for anything. Anyways, let's talk the new Mobile X6. This is not the full review, but this is just my impressions. And let me just start off by telling people, this is a budget device. This is not a flagship to contend against other flagships. If you are looking at this device as like, because the way it's designed and how it looks, like, oh, this has got to be like a high-end mid-ranger or something to go after a flagship, you're not going to get that with the X6. I'm being honest with you guys. Okay? It is a nice phone. It's a pretty solid phone in my opinion for 99 bucks. 99 bucks gets you this phone and gets you a Mint Mobile starter kit. That's a hell of a deal. I'll tell you guys that much right now. However, there are some caveats to this device that does show that it is a budget device. So I'm going to be upfront with everybody about it. But let's talk about all the good things about the X6. If you're looking for specification readouts, obviously that was in the unboxing. Check out the unboxing video if you want to know the specifications of this device. But just, just to really throw it down for you guys, 32 gigs of internal storage, 3 gigabytes of RAM, 5.7-inch display, 5 megapixel front-facing shooter, 13 dual megapixel rear-facing shooters. You got a 2800 milliamp hour battery. It does support LTE. There is dual SIM on this. It does support DSDS, so you can have dual SIM, dual standby. It runs Android 9 Pie, possibly getting Android 10 in the future. Let's get all that out the way, and let's just start off talking about the design of the device, okay? Now, I do have a case on this. I've kept a case on it to keep the back from scratching. I'm kind of worried that the back itself will scratch. Screen protector on the display to keep the display nice and crispy, so that way, the device will be looking new. And I will get a replacement screen protector if this one ever gets damaged. But design-wise, actually pretty cool. I do like that they're trying to keep it very modern. The 19:9 aspect ratio display with a teardrop on the top for the camera itself. Now you will see bezels right here on the side and also on the top itself where the camera's at. But that's not a deal breaker for me. I'm just pointing that out because there are people who are bezel hunters, and the moment they see a bezel, it's like, oh my gosh. So I just wanted to, let you guys know there's a little bit of bezel on it, but it's not anything that's unbearable. Okay, it's not bezels like what you get from like an iPhone 7, top forehead and top bottom chin. It's nothing like that. So I dig that. It does have a removable back because there is a removable battery. One of the quintessential things that I'm really digging about the X6 is that you can get a spare battery and keep this thing juiced up without tethering it to a power bank or anything like that. Just get yourself an additional battery. Keep it juiced up, powered, carry it with you, and when the battery on this dies, you can put in another battery. Now, I will tell you guys, standby time with the battery, which means like absolutely not using the phone, not making phone calls, text messages, browsing the internet, or media streaming. You just pretty much like leave it on your desk. Standby time, I got basically close to 2 days of battery. So standby time is decent. Eventually it killed off. It died on its own, and I had to charge it. So that's, obviously, because batteries don't last forever. But I would say that. Now, actually using the device itself, I pretty much make it through a whole day on the battery. I know it's only 2800 milliamps, but the way that Android is optimized nowadays for battery life has actually gotten way better compared to if you look back at the days of like Froyo, gingerbread, ice cream sandwich. Android 9 is really good with battery. So, I'm making it, to an entire day. And an entire day for me is if I get up like at, my normal time, 6:30 in the morning, and I'm using this device and I'm watching YouTube and I'm listening to music, this device will start to die out probably around maybe 5:45, 6 p.m. So I'm getting about 12 hours, close to 12 hours of battery life before I have to charge it again. And the battery can actually get better as it's going down the road. I mean, we all know how battery works with Android. The first couple of days you're using it, you're going to get poor battery performance, but as the phone learns your patterns and everything, eventually the battery life gets a lot better. um, Dual SIM in the back. I'll tell you guys right now, it does not support visible. So if you have visible wireless service, it's not going to work in here. They did state that it's not Verizon compatible, and just to make sure and prove that it wasn't Verizon compatible, I threw my visible SIM card in here, and it did not read at all. Was not able to even get data. Okay, some devices that might be compatible with visible will still show LTE, but when you try to make a phone call or text, it'll tell you waiting for a connection. Phone calls will just drop because it's waiting for a cellular connection or connection to the LTE for VoLTE support, which this device does have voice over LTE support, but it does not support Verizon. So this is not going on visible. Okay. Now I will say this. With new mobile, kind of reflects the budget of the Pixel. Okay, now, I know that's a bold statement to say, but I'm not saying that as far as performance wise. I'm talking about the cameras. So on new mobile, the cameras are good for what you're paying for. Okay, again, $99 device. So they take really good pictures for what you're paying for, what you're getting, a budget device. And you do have the ability to do things like do bokeh effect and things like that. It's got a pro mode. So we'll just kind of launch the camera here so I can show you guys. So yeah, I mean, that's the viewfinder. Take a picture. We'll launch that picture, and then you guys can see, right? So it's looking okay, right? It's not going to be like like it was taken from the Pixel 4 or anything like that. But these are pictures that are doable for social media. Now, if you want to go for a bokeh effect, then let's just kind of zoom there, take that photo, and then let's see what we get. Right, so you can see everything's blurred except for where I focused on my daughter. Of course, you could adjust the blur and everything like that. So you can get creative with this camera, but it also has a pro mode for those that want to go ahead and play around with like the white balance and all that stuff. You could do that here, just kind of play around with it, and fix the white balance and everything like that, and then snap a photo, and there you have it. But you can see the image processing takes a little bit of time, and there it is. So yeah, there's a pro mode on this. Now let's kind of go with the caveats real quick. So there are some caveats to this. Okay, the X6 is not a perfect phone. So let's start. The first one was audio. Okay, now audio is loud. Don't get me wrong. You can listen to your YouTube videos and hear it pretty well, but it is a very flat sound. The type of speaker that they used, this is the speaker right here. This one is not a speaker. Just this one is the speaker. But the sound production out of it is pretty flat. It's flat sounding. There's no bass to it really. Doesn't give you that depth and feel of audio. So if you're expecting to have a boombox type of speaker out of this thing, it does not have that. But on the contrary, it is loud. So it's not a quiet speaker. So you can hear your music, you can hear your video, which is good. It's clear. I've had it on full volume and it doesn't crack, so that's pretty good. It doesn't crack or pop, so it doesn't have the Rice Krispie effect. But it's very flat. And I know that a lot of people are going to hear that, and it's going to be a little disheartening for them. So I wanted to point that out to you guys. Another thing is that because of the fact that New Mobile went with the Mediatek for its X6, it's probably not a good thing. I would, suggest to them in the future to kind of, work out a deal with Qualcomm and use Qualcomm chips just for, overall better experience when navigating through the UI. Just simple basic things like this can become cumbersome. Okay, you'll start to see some stuttering and things like that happen just by randomly using it throughout the day. So, and it happens every now and then. It's not something that happens all the time. Nonetheless, people will notice it. And so yeah, that's pretty crazy. I would say Don't go with Mediatek. I mean, I've had support from Mediatek. The LG X Power had a Mediatek processor and it worked just fine. But, today it's not really pushing it, okay? The 3 gigs of RAM is really helping out. It's really trying to help us sustain the user experience and just keep things on the level. But, as you guys can see, like just from like videos loading on my feed right here, it literally kind of just started to make it a little bit wonky. I don't know if you guys caught that. But kind of going away from it, there's this little like jittery effect just because there's a video trying to load on the feed itself. One thing I will say is that I didn't have like any missed commands. So like if I swipe to the right, it did it, and it didn't like stutter or like try to like figure out, is he swiping to the right? It did it. It did the deed. Of course, this is Android 9 Pie, so it's not Android 10. But nonetheless, yeah. Another thing that you guys will probably frown about is the video. Video here just seems a little bit weird. Even though it has electronic image stabilization, it still feels a bit weird, especially when you're moving, and you can see this really weird effect that it has. I will upload some raw video samples later on this week so you guys can see what I'm talking about. So anyhow, guys, yeah, that's my time with the new Mobile X6. Like I said, I'll get those videos pumped out this week, those raw video footage. At the end of the day, okay, with all the caveats that this phone has, okay, there's no such thing as a perfect phone. But I will tell you guys, for $99, what you're getting from the X6 is pretty banging, okay? In my opinion, it is. I enjoy using it. I don't, see such a bad thing about it, considering the good things and the bad things about it. But all that will come full circle in the full review video, so guys, stay tuned for that. I'm going to use this a little bit more to have more time with it, so I have more things to really kind of dive into, get deep with, and give you guys more info on that. So if you guys enjoyed today's video, smash that like button to let me know. If you just subscribed, thanks so much for doing so. I really appreciate that. Hit the bell icon to be notified. And yeah, that is it for right now, guys. As always, aloha.